Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Behind the Song. Today's episode is about Do You Want to Know? When I was writing Do You Want to Know, I was very much channeling old school soul vibes. I think when Izaac and I were selecting some of the samples, because we used a few samples for some of the songs, not all of them, but some of them, I really wanted to bring in some of those real old school elements to give us the right tone for this kind of subject matter. In terms of this song, like when you listen to the lyrics, I was in this toxic relationship for quite a long time, and we can get into that a whole other day, a whole other discussion. But this particular point in time in a relationship, it was very much like I was getting questioned constantly about where I was, what I was doing, who I was doing it with. It was very controlling. And I found it really frustrating because I wasn't doing anything wrong. And because we had all these issues previously, and it made me really think, going, well, are those issues still going on? And the line about bleeding out, need a resus, it's kind of all about that emotional exhaustion of being in a toxic relationship when you think, I don't think I can do this anymore. I literally felt like I needed someone to resuscitate me because it's been that painful, and I think I got dog fur in my mouth. It was just wearing me down, artistically, creatively, confidence-wise. I just felt like I was becoming essentially a small, teeny tiny version of who I used to be. And then this line, I look in the mirror, I like not what I see. When did I succumb to darkness? I was starting to feel like I'm becoming a horrible version of myself that I did not like, and that realization was huge for me. And I think the song So Bad follows on from this, in a sense that's a realization of them being bad for me, but this is a realization that I don't like what's going on who I'm becoming, because I've always used to be this vibrant person and fun and enjoy all my creative pursuits. I was dancing, singing, acting, writing, doing all this stuff, and all of these things were slowly being taken away, or I felt like I was forced to give them away because it created so much conflict because of that person's insecurities. So essentially this song for me is like, do you want to know where I've been? Do you want to know who I've seen? It's very much about pushing back, if you will. I think it's really pushing back and rejecting the idea that I'm the problem. Because, when I look back, I wasn't the problem. The problem was that they had a difficult upbringing and issues with their father, their mother, whatever. At the end of the day, that's not my issue, but I was the one who was experiencing it all, and I really wanted to put this into song because I think a lot of people go through toxic relationships and suffer through some of these similar feelings where they're feeling constantly questioned and challenged and put down and struggling under the weight of it all. And I think Do You Want to Know is for those people who are at the cusp of realizing that things have changed, and they're struggling under the weight of all of this. It does make me emotional because it took quite a lot for me to kind of leave it all behind and turn over a new leaf. It's the best thing I ever did. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the idea of it still makes me emotional. The song is therapy for me. I mean, that's all it is, right? Running out, no room for more. That's think that's where I'm going to leave it. In terms of inspiration, actually, just on a fun note, I tend to have writing playlists. I just collect songs when I'm writing albums, collect different songs that make me feel something. And I know I always say this, I'm inspired by all kinds of music, from rock, even I was listening to a punk song the other day. The song was influenced by the Arctic Monkeys. I know, random. And their song, Do I Wanna Know? And I don't know, I was listening to that and just the vibe of it really hammered home the story in my head. And I mean, if you read the lyrics, there's no connection other than the words do, wanna, and know. But that's where it came from. And I know people get a bit funny when artists are, they have similar sounding song names or whatever, but I think most artists draw inspiration from other artists. Like, we respect what other artists are doing, and I'm the type of person, I'm open to any kind of genre of music. I'll have a listen, and if I like it, I'll add it to my playlist. I don't care what the genre is. I might make soul music or R&B, or it's mostly soul and a bit of alternative pop or whatever, but I can be influenced by, the next punk song. And I usually like to read the lyrics to music and just really understand where the artist is coming from. Super important to share these things, because I always used to wonder sometimes where songs come from. And as much as I always say, I'm just a vessel for creativity, which is true, but at the same time, my experiences influence what shape it takes and how that takes that shape. So do you want to know? I would call this song is probably the turning point in a love story. Very much so. It was a turning point in that particular love story with that person. That meant we were in a steady decline, which changed things, right? I think I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that realization. And I wouldn't have released the album, and you wouldn't get to enjoy the music that I'm kind of sharing with you. So, and that definitely makes me emotional. But I'm also grateful for it, right? Because these experiences made me understand so much more about myself and made me fight for myself a lot more. So yeah, I'm done rambling. And I'll see you next time for another episode of Behind a Song.